Hello, it's Phillip Taylor from Richmond Green Chambers. I'm reviewing Chitty on Contract. I've been reviewing it for many years now. This is a picture of it. I'm not going to lug it here because it's so heavy. It's in 2 volumes and it's got, apart from the legal grey as the back cloth, it's sort of a red little banding at the moment. This is for the 30th edition. Now, I've known Chitty for 40 years and it's outstanding. It's probably the most important book of the Common Law Library and one of the most important legal books around, in my opinion. I've given this particular review for the 30th edition. I've called it, to the 30th Chitty, our pillar of the common law. Make no mistake about it, the Common Law Library series, which Sweet and Maxwell publish, actually contain the law as we have it. This is the English law. In all its various forms. We have the statutes, the cases, and the academic comment. As I say, I've been using the book for 40 out of the 180 years it's been in existence, and it remains for me the single most important work that we have. It's the top practitioner's work, without doubt. It's been described as guidance of the highest calibre. And Professor Beale, with his 18-person team, have produced the best foundation on which to base a case in contract. It's an understanding they give which is second to none. I've confidence in this work, I know most other people do, as it gives the depth of insight I need when I negotiate or dispute a contract in any forum and at any level. I mean, let's be quite clear, the Common Law Library is for practitioners. The English sometimes is quite complex, but the issues are complex and it addresses them, and in the most responsible of ways. The new edition remains in the 2-volume format, about 4,000 pages. It's always useful, I think, to read Professor Beale's preface, because he sets out at a glance what's been changing since 2004. In the 4 years since the last edition, the digital world has now come to Chitty's, and of course you can view the work online via Westlaw. Therefore it opens a new horizon to many. It's not something I would necessarily automatically go for myself, but I can see its benefits. Editing Chitty obviously is clearly a massive undertaking, described, I believe, as an unrivaled expertise from the alpha and omega of contract law, plus all the arguments. And obviously what it does, it certainly does that, it encompasses each and every part of the substantive law brilliantly. Generally, I tend to use the volume 1 part, which is the general stuff, rather than the specific contracts in volume 2, mainly because, therefore, commercial situations, although obviously the specialist areas are very well catered for with in-depth detail. Whenever you draft a contract, Chitty gives that expert interpretation, which I think is of value, concerning the legal position, and of course it has all the tested authority at its disposal, which means that you can rely on it eventually being taken into account whenever you actually are confronted with problems of this nature. So when you get to negotiations with the other side, you can have the confidence, in my view, that this book will give you to make sure that you will miss absolutely nothing, and it'll give you the backing for your arguments if you know where to look. Do get used to it, because obviously it's a work that you have to use a bit to get used to. As I've said, Chitty really is the pillar of our common law, with its 2 main supports. One is the easy reference to relevant legislation, which I mentioned, and the other is the expert interpretation of cases, with all those expert contractual commentaries on latest developments. throughout, of course, there's the in-depth chapter contents headings, which is a hallmark of the Common Law Library series. They're very helpful, and the indexes in both volumes also I find quite helpful for quick and ready access, so I can find the right sections and the paragraph numbers. It's always a problem when you're in the law library with that sort of thing, as I'm sure many will know. Readers, I'm sure, new to this work will probably find it a little heavy initially, as I've indicated, but there are a lot of footnotes, yes, and you don't need to despair though, because you've actually got the linking and the structure and the layering, which is what we really need. Once you get used to it though, it's a lot easier, because the insight of experience together with the vigour of youth can emerge to present a statement of fundamental law, which is what this is, which has become indispensable, certainly for us as practitioners, I suspect for the judiciary, and almost certainly for our colleagues in academia. And it's now, as I say, always available. You can get it via Westlaw. So welcome to the digital century, Chitty, with all your detail and your deliberation. And thank you too, Sweet and Maxwell. Bye-bye.